All right. Welcome back to Raccoon Tweeties. This episode is kind of just like, the hanging out episode after a long 10 minutes of shop. If you're a fan. Are there any people that are more fans of Raccoon Tweeties than there are?
There are probably two completely different fan bases.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. No, I think.
But if you're an audio-only Raccoon Tweeties listener, then you can go to the YouTube and watch the 10 minutes of shop.
Yeah.
It was extra long.
You can watch it or, continue to hear us try and put people in the open mic community into current events. Talking about Alan Strickland Williams and the LA City Council. If you think stuff like that's funny.
Is Alan an open micer? Is that what he's?
No, he's not. But he just as a friend, so we constantly talk about him on the show.
Yeah,
him and Fritz and Luke Schwartz and all those guys. But yeah, I mean we're not at the point where we're going to start drinking out of shoes yet.
Yeah. You got to watch 10 minutes of shop to get that.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be great. That would be, not to bleed it over too much, but it's funny how the Fighter and the Kid subreddit is I'm like, oh, that's who I want to appease. And wouldn't it be great if they adopt the shoe drinking thing?
That is funny. Yeah. If they had to turn it into a felt face type thing.
Yeah.
I mean, creating a bit on that thing is like creating a bit anywhere.
Yeah.
Those guys are pretty talented.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff is super funny. I would be nervous to post. I'd be like, would they like it?
Yeah. Do you not ever post in there?
I've never posted, but I just created a Reddit.
Yeah.
10 minutes of shop Reddit.
Oh.
I've been, upvoting things.
Yeah.
I upvoted your post a bunch.
Nice.
But I'm just not a Reddit guy, really. I don't really know how Reddit works too much.
Yeah, it's taken me a while to, I was casually looking at it, and it wasn't until maybe the past year, less than a year, that I start because there's Reddit boards for Bone Zone, Do You Know Who Jason Segel Is, and World Record Podcast. So.
Yeah.
I'll check in with those occasionally.
Do you write on those?
Only when I kind of I'll post in the Bone Zone subreddit when I'm looking for something, when I'm oh, does anybody have, I don't know. I'm looking for a clip for some reason. I don't post I'm not very active with the Discord or Reddit.
By the way, we have Brendon Walsh here today. I don't think
I didn't introduce the legendary Brendon Walsh.
Two Brendons.
Two Brendons.
Two Brendons and a G. That's a new.
Oh, there you go.
It's the new name of the show.
And some titties.
Yeah. Also, San Jose. Jack Johnson was here earlier. Yeah. I mean, what I do, for the YouTube, and now I'm starting to sound like the fucking shop people. They talk about merch and all this shit. Yeah. But I mean, I just write back to every YouTube comment, just in shop.
I noticed that on your
And then we have the Discord. Do you have a Discord too?
I do. And I just don't, I feel like I'll late at night when everybody's in bed, after I'm done peeping, I'm also a peeping Tom. When you're watching, when you're just dicking around online, watching YouTube videos and stuff. Yeah. And then it's you're what else? And I'm oh, the Discord. I'll look at that once a month, maybe. And
yeah.
I get like that too. Does A-Train ever comment on that shit?
She comments on Discord. I actually just looked at the Discord last night or the night before, and she was yeah.
She's talking shit.
Yeah.
Or just doing, you could do bits like Brennan hit me again. I don't know.
If she did that, I would fucking hit her.
I have stolen. This is the money that I've stolen from Brendan.
Yeah.
What I bought.
No, she'll just kind of comment or reply to people, and I don't know. And on the Reddit too, I'll see whenever I check it, I'm oh, she was in here fucking answering.
When's the last time
questions.
you did flappers?
I did.
I got to bring it back.
Not that long ago, but it was part of a Jimmy Pardo is trying to put together some kind of TV show, some kind of panel thing. Well, it's it's not a TV show, but it's him. There's a couple guys that used to work for Comedy Central. So they're kind of trying to figure out, they're doing these live shows where he has a podium, and it's kind of at midnight. They're trying to recreate. Okay. And he asked me and this guy, Hal Rudnick, because I do this, it's kind of fallen off, but I have this gossip character, Renee Fabergé, who just does like gossip stuff. And Hal was my brother Dave Fabergé. So it was Renee and Dave Fabergé. And we were making some videos on Instagram. And they wanted us to do something for the show. So that was like, I'm going to say, that was probably August. So a couple months ago. Yeah.
So we did.
But it was part of that show.
It was what?
It was just part of that Jimmy Pardo show where we came out and I just screamed about
in your character.
Yeah.
Did you have any interactions with like Barman Dave?
They weren't there. The bartender though was cool. I don't know. I think his name was Brandon, maybe.
Not Justin though, right? Justin, what's his last name? Shit. Can't remember. Justin.
I think his name was, I believe his name was Brandon because he knew who I was. Like he was like kind of hooking me up.
Was he a bald guy?
I don't think he was bald. He was like a younger dude. He was probably like your age or, I don't really remember. I just was I got like a whiskey. They had Tiger Thick whiskey there. I was happy to see. So I got a couple of Tiger Thicks. Yeah. I had like 4 Tiger Thicks, then drove home drunk and
showing off.
But, no, I got like Jameson and the guy at one point he's like, oh, I don't know. He like knew who I was and was like, oh, I'm a fan of, the podcast or something. And I was like that.
Do you remember when Flappers like
opened?
Open? Were you really excited or were you more like, I like macaroni grills kind of?
I mean, I'm kind of a fucking hater, so I'm sure I was. No, I don't know. I remember it opening and like the name Flappers kind of being stupid, and but I do remember when it opened thinking like, oh, this is great. Like you can, because it's close. I live on the east side, so driving to Burbank, like driving to Flappers is easier. I don't know. It's probably about the same as driving to the Improv now that I think about it. But it seems closer. Like you don't have to drive all the way through fucking Hollywood and shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of parking there. They have that.
Yeah, you park in that furniture store or whatever.
Ashley's Furniture, yes.
Yeah. Shout out.
Imagine if I didn't know that. I know Ashley's Furniture, but I can't remember my friend's last name. Justin. Sad.
But Flappers, I feel like always kind of was like people were joking about it from the beginning.
Yeah.
And frankly, it's kind of amazing. It's got to be 10 years almost, at least, that they've been around, right?
I think so. I
would think they would have had a big,
maybe.
Oh, really? That,
yeah.
Oh.
I could be wrong, though.
So
it's
maybe
at least 2012, because it was here when I got here.
Yeah.
I got there late 2012.
Yeah. Maybe it was 2010. So it opened like right when not long after I moved here. I moved here in 2009.
Where are you from originally?
I grew up in Philadelphia.
Oh.
But you were out in Austin for a long time.
I was in Austin for over 10 years before I moved here. So I haven't lived in Philly proper since, I haven't lived in Philly for 20 years.
Well, I don't know if you were doing Austin comedy, like, was it a good scene?
Yeah. I think it always had a good scene.
It's better now, but.
Could be. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there now. Yeah. I always did kind of think like I feel like its reputation, I don't know. I don't know what a good scene is. I mean, I was on the road a lot, so I've seen some pretty bad scenes. So I guess Austin always has like, I guess what consists of a good scene is having more than like a few funny guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because there's always, there was like good original people there.
So you don't have that kind of like, oh, Austin was my scene kind of thing, like because about how like people say Austin is where, like, because Rogan moved there and now all these LA comics moved there that want to say,
oh, right. I didn't even think about that. That's I'm sure that sucks for everybody who's there. Well, because I was back there at the beginning of the year because I was thinking about moving back there. And
like buying a house? Or
that was the thing. It was like, buying a house out here is just out of the question.
Yeah.
I have 2 little kids and we have a thing where, they sold the place we live in got sold to a developer. So we have to leave at some point. They can't, there's good tenant laws here. So they can't really force us to leave, especially on top of the COVID stuff.
Right.
So, there's not a lot of pressure, but we do have to leave at some point. And also having kids and shit, if I lived somewhere else, we wouldn't if we were living in Texas and that happened, they'd be like, yeah, you have 30 days to get out. So I'm like, I want to have a little more security, just be nice to own a house, even though it'd be hard to swing almost anywhere for me. But
it's crazy what they do out here. Cause you're dealing with that.
Yeah.
What I'm dealing with is this thing over here, this big, I don't know if you saw the luxury condos they're building.
I noticed, I didn't really pay attention.
So they started building it. It's here.
Yeah,
It's right next to my house. And at first it was annoying because it was just loud noises and people in the morning and shit.
Cat calling Brendon.
What's that?
Cat calling you?
Yeah.
Looking
at you through your bathroom window.
Hot. Look at that.
Oh, he's taking a shower, boys. Gather around the window.
Get out the shoes. The show's going on. But now it's even crazier because for a while it stopped, the sound, it's not as bad.
Yeah.
But I looked out, they've left trash on the side and they knocked down some trees and it killed a stray cat.
Oh.
So there was a dead cat in our yard.
Construction guys killed a cat?
Not on purpose, but
yeah. Consequence.
And so it's just
how did something fell on it or something, or
it looked like, it could have just died, maybe.
Yeah.
But there's all these little trees that got knocked down.
Okay.
And it was in there, so I think the trees crushed the cat.
Oh man.
Blunt force trauma.
Yeah, and they stuck like a stake in our yard for some construction purpose. And
They're saying you're next, dude.
I know, they're trying to get rid of me. They haven't even said it. They're just silently. They knocked out the sewage once, so the sewage was in the once. Yeah, so it's gonna get worse, is what I'm saying. I don't even own this place, and they're trying to kick me out.
There's construction everywhere, and but we went to Austin because I was like, well, that's kind of the last. I don't know. I feel like, well, there's still, I don't know. I'm like, oh, maybe we could live in Austin. That's the last place that I kind of lived, and I have good memories, and I still have friends there. I don't have as much going on in Philly, and either way, we went back and did a live podcast, but there is that whole kind of scene of the, Joe Rogan stuff has kind of really taken over, at least one little corner, but.
And that's kind of your scene, right? You're kind of like an Andrew Schultz kind of type guy, right?
Yeah. I've been a big Schultz guy for a while. I don't even know. I'm not familiar with Andrew Schultz. I'm aware of him, and I know that he's successful. And actually, you told me on the podcast we did together more about, I didn't know anything about him. So
yeah. I learned more about him as I learned everything from Oathman.
Yeah. You got to get that guy to move out here.
Oathman is my Reddit. Yeah. I just learned shit from him.
But I don't think I would want to move to Austin now. We're just kind of in limbo. I am kind of over LA. It's funny because the Phillies are going to the World Series again this year.
Yeah.
And the last time they were in the World Series was right before I moved to LA. So I'm like, oh, that's funny. I'm probably going to be leaving LA the next, this time they're in the World Series, but I can't figure out where to go really.
Did they
That's
win?
the opposite of, no, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. They just won that NL.
Did they win when you moved the first time?
They did win. And the funny thing is it was it was such a weird victory because they were playing the Rays.
Yeah.
And the last game got rained out in the seventh inning or something. They went past too long where it was an official game and the Phillies were winning 2-1. And then the Rays tied it up and they're like, okay, now we're going to call for a rain delay. And it just kept raining all night. So they called the game, and then the next day they're like, okay, we're going to play an inning of they played 2 innings and the Phillies won the World Series. But it was all right, everybody, I guess come back tomorrow for an hour. It's just such a weird, just kind of softens the, I don't know. It's just a weird victory.
Yeah.
Where it's all right, everybody come back and watch a inning and a half of baseball tomorrow.
Well, if they win this year, then you have to move.
Yeah. Well, I think we're gone. I don't know. It's so up in the air, which sucks, but I don't know. It's
when
tough.
I moved out here, it had the opposite because I'm from Arlington, Virginia, like DC area. The Nationals won the World Series the second I got out here, pretty much.
Oh,
and they had just I think they just traded Bryce Harper to the Phillies, or he left.
Yeah,
because I don't think he won the. Did he win a World Series with the Nationals? I don't think he did.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't really follow. I'm not like a big baseball. Guy, I don't follow everything going on. And it's like when you know,
you just like the rain delay World Series games.
I like the rain.
You gave like a very eloquent description of the World Series, and I was like, "Oh, Walsh is a baseball guy." I'm not either.
I like, I grew up going, like, we would go to Phillies games as a family and stuff, and it's like, yeah, you live in a city like Philadelphia, you're gonna be a fucking, you're gonna have to like the sports teams. I'm not like, I couldn't name. I couldn't even name all the Phillies right now. I'm like total bandwagoning this.
One Phillies player, Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper, yeah.
Yeah, so name all the comedians you think are rich kids.
I mean, all of them for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, your dad owns Exxon. You were saying off the air.
That's right. Ed Cooney, former CEO of Exxon.
My dad owns Tapatio.
Yeah.
Your dad,
Tapatio.
Yeah, that makes sense. What company does your dad own?
He owns Boeing. He's a big Boeing guy. So
it would be cool if he did. You could kind of force your way onto things and screw over people pretty easily. All the people that piss you off.
I mean, it's funny that there really are a lot of rich kids in all of entertainment. Like they've usurped the whole art world. What
I've been thinking about that is like, there are rich kids that I know that do stand up, but their parents are like in comedy.
Yeah.
They like have helped them. And there's one person in particular I'm thinking about that's done very well. But I like
Crystalia.
her. Who?
Crystalia.
Yeah, Crystalia. This is a woman. I think she's funny. She's nice. And this other person from a different scene was like shitting on her for her success.
Does she have any ties to like any political cause her
in comedy?
No, maybe not.
Yeah, no. That's what I was going to get at.
Oh, okay.
The person that criticized this other lady whose mom is I'm going too specific.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going too specific. But anyways, it criticizes
Pacific.
Yeah. Watch out, Chin. So they criticized her. But then this other person told me that the person that criticized her dad is like was part of the Iran-Contra scandal.
Yeah. Her grandfather.
No, but this is
somebody
the thing.
else?
No, it's not. It's everybody thinks I'm talking about her, but it's not. I'm not talking about Rosebud Baker.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about this other comic who
is it?
Do you want me to name?
Yeah, why not?
All right, yeah, why not? They're never gonna see this. I think it's Kath Barbadero or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, is she she's an Austin person, isn't she?
Really? I thought it was a New York person.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I know the name.
I don't know what she's like or whatever, but I just think that's so lame. Yeah. It's like your dad's rich too, and your dad did a terrible thing.
Yeah. And who was she shitting on? Who's the other person?
Hannah Einbinder.
Okay.
The ex chick.
Yeah.
Hannah she wanted to do the Flapper screenplay. She messaged me.
Oh, you told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah. She's a nice lady.
I don't know her that well. Well, it's funny how like my opinion of people will like Crystalia was always like nice to me.
Yeah, you're
and really nice, like we were on shows a lot, like at the Improv or whatever, just showcase shows, and he always like, oh, dude, that's funny. And he would like send me Twitter messages like, oh shit, that's so funny what you did. And I'm like, oh, this guy's not so bad, I guess. This is before all the stuff. But I was, and I was saying to Sean O'Connor, was like, yeah, he's always been like, I was like, that's the kind of guy I would shit on. Like what he does is not my cup of tea, but he's always been so nice to me. I'm like, he's not so bad. And Sean's like, he grew up in Hollywood. Like he knows what he's doing. He knows that you would shit on it. Like he's going out of his way to be nice to you.
You got Ed the Clown?
But
you got Ed on the phone? Is that it?
But also it's like, well, but I am, wait, you don't think I'm funny? It's like,
I don't know if Sean's right there because like so many people are like that. You know, Shab. I've heard Maddie Chimber was saying that he met Shab and Shab was very cool.
Yeah.
Maddie does those shows with them. But like,
I almost was on a show with Shab like a couple months ago.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's nice in person, or in some instances, but he's also like a dick. You know, like he's clearly a dick to people. You can tell from the show.
Yeah.
And people have all these stories about him being a dick.
Yeah.
To like people that work on the show to share studio space with him.
Yeah.
Most comics, I mean, you know this way better than me because you're on more stuff. But like when you go to the show, no, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of comics are friendly.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like a nerve-wracking thing to be on a show. You want to be friendly. You hope that you do better than everybody else. But you don't want everyone to bomb, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have to do a show tomorrow. I haven't done like a regular stand-up set in 3 years.
What's the gig tomorrow?
Tonight it is, if you're watching this. Formosa Cafe.
And can I ask you a question? Did I inspire you to start again?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Was it James Fritz?
No, it was, the guy who runs it. It's Josh Hannes, who there used to be this really good show at the, what's that place it's like across from the Pleasure Chest.
I know
Bar
that place,
Lubitsch. And they did a show called the Josh and Josh Show, him and this other guy named Josh.
Yeah.
And that's a great space in that Bar Lubitsch, that little back room. And I guess he just started this show and like, frankly, it was one of the few people bugging me to like do stand-up. So like he asked me like last month, but I had tickets to go see Roger Waters. And then the month before that, either way, like there were a couple times when he asked me and I was like, I can't do it.
Right.
So now I'm like, I have to do it. But I don't even know what I'm going to do. I don't know.
You're definitely going to drink some whiskey out of your shoe tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all I'll do. Yeah.
If you go up there and talk about shop, then you're really homeless.
Maybe I did kick around the idea of just doing his special, like doing one of his bits, like word for word, or doing 10 minutes of his act.
I mean, I love if you do that. I'll go. Give me a ticket. Is there a ticket thing? Do I have to buy tickets?
No, I don't think so. I think this is a free show.
So it's Tuesday night.
Tuesday night at 8 at the Formosa Cafe at Santa Monica and whatever that cross street is. I think just past La Brea, maybe somewhere in that area.
I wonder how long it'll take to get the Tiger Thick whiskey from the guy. We'll get a little drinking.
Oh man, that's crazy. You got to let me know when you get that. I want to try that shit.
Yeah, I'll let you try it. Maybe I'll have another show or something where we like
a special. Like
maybe we could go somewhere and we go all drink it. So there's a guy that hit me up on. Well, I don't want to give too much details. He wants to be very secretive. But anyway, someone gave me or is going to give me Tiger Thick whiskey that he bought with crypto money.
That's great.
So it's coming to the house at some point. We'll try it on the 10 minutes thing. But yeah, I mean, it's $100 whiskey. It's Japanese whiskey, which is supposed to be good.
It's blended. It's Japanese and some other like bourbon or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a mixed.
I got a birthday present for somebody, Japanese whiskey, and it's a little more expensive than others. So I just assume it's like good. I don't know.
There's some nice Japanese whiskeys. I'm not a bit, again, I'm friends with a guy who's like rich and into shit like food and
Einbinder's dad.
Yeah. It's Crystal Leah's dad. Produced Night Court or something.
He's been in Hollywood. He knows to tell you you're funny, Brendon.
Yeah, I know. I don't even think it dawned on me until just now where it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, Sean.
So he's not being funny, or he doesn't like. You're just basically saying I'm not funny.
Yeah, bourbon whiskey.
Yeah, it's mixed with bourbon whiskey.
I asked Sean O'Connor. Is that Sean O'Connor? Is that his name?
Yeah.
I asked him to do a show when I first moved out here, and he was really friendly and nice about it. And that was one of the first times I was shocked. Like you can literally get like comedians that have established themselves to do random bar shows. Ali Wong was the same way. She was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do it. What's this stuff?" But I didn't end up getting either of them to do it. But they were very nice.
It's just people will do shows. You can get like Sarah Silverman to do your show.
Yeah, she was supposed to be on some show I was on that was like a Vice comedy show when I first got out here. And she wasn't on it. That's a boring story, but
Well,
Yeah, it was terrible.
do we need these headphones? Is there any play clips or
no,
anything?
we're not going to listen to clips.
I mean, I know it feels more professional when you're hearing everybody, but it's making my ears hot.
Is that it?
Let's pick up the pace. I feel like, you see, this is the problem that I have. I start droning on about Crystalia and stand up at the Formosa.
What's the worst open mic you ever been to in LA?
I didn't do any open mics here.
Fuck. What's the worst open?
Oh, you know what? I did. I explored the open mic scene. There was like, I guess when I was doing, I don't know. I had a TV thing and I just wanted, I forget what it was for.
Was that the writing stuff? The show with the you were telling me about? What was your?
I was going to do stand up on TV.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, you know what? There's a lot of like, maybe I can't imagine. I don't know what it was. It was pretty. I think I was like pretty new out here. Maybe it was like that John Oliver thing. Either way, I was like, well, maybe I'll just go to a bunch of open mics. I mean, whatever. Stage time is stage time. And well, just what a fucking dismal scene it is. Like I went to, I mean, none of them are probably there anymore. And I don't think I went up at it. Oh no, I did. There was one.
I feel like I'm going to know what it is. Sadly.
I don't know. You know, these are all just kind of disjointed memories. It was like one night where I just went to a bunch and like one of them was upstairs. I think it was on Hollywood Boulevard over kind of near where Meltdown used to be.
Yeah.
Above, like, I think it was the,
was it second stage?
Is that upstairs above
That'd
like a restaurant?
Yeah.
And is the room about this, like, are the chairs, is the room like 5 feet deep or it was a pretty like shallow room where I was like, oh, there's just, but no one was there.
Rock Paper was around then.
No, this above like, begins with an S, like some restaurant. I don't know.
Tao Comedy Studio?
But not far from that restaurant though. It was like up the street.
If Walsh did Tao Comedy Studio. Do you even know who Bobby Oliver is?
No.
Yeah.
There's a place called Fourth Wall that's kind of close to where I live.
Oh, really?
Fourth Wall. We had the owner of Fourth Wall on the show. We interviewed him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think I might have seen some of that.
Fourth Wall near you?
It said it was on, or unless it's like, is it a 52?
Well, there was one in Koreatown that's done.
Okay. Well, this is a new, because there's a guy who I went to high school with who's like this bodybuilder guy who just started doing stand-up like not that long ago. And he's on his Instagram posting, he's like doing shows, but it's like all Fourth Wall. Like, you know, there are places I never. Yeah,
that's the Hollywood Boulevard. You know what's funny about that is it's not that great, but the green room is super nice. They made it they made it very good.
Is this what you guys usually talk about? Stand up? That's it?
Well, shitty.
Fourth Wall, 5220 Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah, it's got my same zip code.
Yeah.
And there's another guy named Sean O'Connor on the show. I sent this to Sean O'Connor. So there's a guy named Sean O'Connor who's not him.
Yeah.
Do you know these guys? George Dulcich?
Don't know George.
And then a woman who just, her name is Shireen.
Don't know Shireen.
Sean O'Connor, older, different than the other Sean O'Connor. Lou Kang.
I don't know Lou Kang either.
Eric Rocha.
Yeah, Eric's a friend. I know Eric.
Mike Pye.
No.
Luke.
Schwartz? Shout out?
No. Let me see. Luke Allen.
Yeah.
And it's not, my eyesight's not bad. This is just a poor image. Bruno
Master de Casa. Yeah.
Oh, he just says Bruno Mastro.
Okay.
Is that what he goes by?
Name, yeah.
Dang, he's
$10 they're charging.
You know, Eric's pretty good at stand-up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking it. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not familiar with it. Maybe I'll go check it out sometime because it is not far from where I live.
It's pretty brutal, but I mean, if you really just want to do 5 minutes.
What's it like? Is there a bar in there? Or is it just like a storefront
That one, there is.
Okay.
That one they try to do more shows at.
Is it shady, like no liquor license bar? Or they just have like a cooler of beer?
It might be like that. Yeah. They have food. There's some
oh, really?
Yeah. They opened up a thing called like, there's a comic that runs the food aspect of it, and him and his wife opened up something called Lady Biscuits.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So they sell food, and then they have beer, but it's probably out of a cooler.
But also, Joe, when he was on the podcast, he was
talked about it.
Fucking Flappers got that liquor license. Fucking, that's why they're killing it. You know?
Yeah.
So it sounds like he does it.
Yeah, probably.
Well, there's liquor. There's difference beer and wine and liquor. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. And fourth wall always seemed like maybe kind of illegal because it's like, you know, I don't know if you know the setup, but they charge people $5.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's like $5, 10 comics every hour. And then if you want audience, so that guy makes money off of that and then rents out the space with that money. Huh. And then the show is a new aspect, I guess. They're doing shows and
charging $10. I mean, I guess these people all have to bring some people or something. Because that's a weird thing is like again, I'm a little out of the loop. Like I haven't, when I first moved out here, I was doing shows a lot. And it just seemed like there were just tons of fun, free shows.
Yeah.
And then I'd say since I had kids and shit, like really the Improv was that was the main place I was doing sets because it was just easy. You get the emails every week and you reply with which nights you could do. And that club's always been the best with like giving me sets. Laugh Factory too, but I'm not nuts about the Laugh Factory. I've never really had fun there. Improv I like.
I never got up at the Laugh Factory, but I do remember when I first moved out here, I would see your clips on there. And it's funny to associate you with the Laugh Factory because you know how it is. It's kind of like, it's not your style.
It's like Dane Cookie. Yeah, it's definitely like a different style.
But those clips used to pop off. Those old Laugh Factory clips, they would get like a lot of views.
That's like the only the curious thing. I'm like, I was thinking about that recently because like all this, like I don't have a lot of views on shit, but then I'm like, wait, there was like a Laugh Factory clip of me. That's the thing too. I don't think like I was fully aware that I'm being recorded. Like you probably signed something or whatever. Yeah. You're like, yeah, whatever. I don't give a fuck.
They film all this. They used to. I don't know if they still do it, but they would film it all. Yeah. And then they would just put shit out. So there'd be like all these comics. Like I saw.
Yeah, 200,000 views. Like I remember seeing a clip and it's like, I'm like, it's just like some half-assed bit. And it's like, has 230,000 views. And I'm like, not even trying. I'm high. And
yeah, your clips look like they're from the special. It's kind of funny. It'll be like, it looks like it's like your stand-up special, but then it's you. Like I remember that I haven't watched this since like 2012. I remember vividly seeing you do a bit about like cleaning out a pussy, like a
fleshlight.
A fleshlight. And then also you had something about a homeless guy in the street.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, oh, Walsh filmed this. I didn't know anything about comedy. So I was like, Walsh filmed a special at the Laugh Factory. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But then I
did a 10-minute set.
There was like Nealon had a show where he would have people on. They filmed all those. Those are actually pretty funny.
It's weird though that like I'm like, oh, I never saw. I mean, again, I'm not going to be like knocking on their door going, hey, don't I get any money from the million views from the however many clips? Like who knows how many clips are up there? And yeah, like the homeless thing is like an old bit about like the homeless newspapers, like their street sheets. They had them like in Seattle or Portland. It's like not even probably that relevant anymore.
I got one of those once.
Yeah. And it was just kind of like, bad jokes about like the homeless news.
It would be like stories about.
Well, the main thing was like the weather report, where it was like they would have like a 53-day weather report, and it was like the weather every day will be inescapable, which is like rude, I guess, in today's day and age. And then the fleshlight bit was kind of like. I'm not ashamed of that. Like that was just a whole thing
It's
about like a rubber, because there's like a rubber ass. Maybe that, I don't even know what's up there.
I definitely remember laughing at the part where the idea of somebody standing over a sink and cleaning it out. That was
Oh yeah. That was funny. That was funny. Yeah, you're like muttering to yourself, like, yeah. I'm just like, yeah. How stupid you must feel. Like after you're done, you're just standing there in like a t-shirt and socks, like rinsing it out. Like, I should have taken my dishes out of the sink. That was like the end of the bit, I think, where you're like, the fuck am I doing with my life?
That did make me think logically about that, because I've never owned a fake ass or a fleshlight.
Me neither.
And I was like, but I thought about it logically after that. I was like, yeah, you're right. You would have to go to maybe a sink or a dishwasher. Hopefully not.
You have to do like, well, there's going to have to be cleaning. And then there was like a big part of that bit was the rubber ass, like seeing like there was, they sell these like rubber ass vagina. It's like a chunk, like they just cut a lady, cut off her legs and cut her in half. And then you just have that. And the whole bit is just about like, well, that's in your house now. Yeah. Like you have that. And like, if you get hit by a car and die, your family, like people are going to find it in your house. Like
I thought about that because I saw this, I don't know what it was, something on the internet where they do the fake, like robot women. Now yeah. This one guy, he was like, yeah, I love the robot. It's great. But in his closet, it was a headless woman. Just like, such a weird, because you put the head on, I guess. Yeah. And it hangs up, like a coat rack. That's what the neck is. Like if you take the head off it, so it hangs.
And you can hang the.
But can you imagine like having just a headless woman in your closet?
It's all weird. I mean, I think I was just, because like there's a thing called real dolls, which are like these high end $6,000. Yeah. I mean, it's a whole thing that I don't know how much I want to get into, but I'm looking for a new couch. And so like I'm checking Craigslist too. Yeah. And just on Craigslist, like I'll just start typing in crazy shit after I like look at the couches, like dildos or whatever. And I put in, I don't know what I typed in, but there's a guy, and I'm trying to get him on the podcast. There's a guy that has a van, like one of those like party van, like a Sprinter van or whatever. Yeah. And maybe I typed in sex doll or something, because there were a few but this one was like, he's not selling it, but he'll drive to where you are and let you fuck it for $60.
Holy shit.
Really, dude?
And there's pictures of it.
That's hilarious.
I mean, I'm sure I could find it. And then I sent that to my friend Duncan, and he was sending me like Duncan Trussell. You guys know him. So he's all like, whatever, fucking.
He fucked it.
The future is set like AI, man. Like it's just all like he's all into everything. Or not that he's fucking dolls, but he like immediately sends me these. He's like, yeah, those are like $6,000. And he's like, oh, you should get him on your podcast. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying. And I was kind of messing with the guy, not messing with him, but I just was like, what the fuck? Is this for real? And it's also like the chances of like getting like robbed or murdered. That's what I'm thinking. It's like, I'm not going to go meet up with a guy in a van to go fuck his doll.
So it was probably very dangerous for him though. Like he's
both ways, Papa.
Yeah. I mean, it's a topic we talked about before, like the lengths horniness will take you to.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying.
Fourth wall too. This is it's a better business model to fuck a doll instead of finding $5 a bomb.
But I'm like, whatever. It's curious. I'm interested in the whole thing.
The fuck dolls is like comics and fuck dolls. And like, there's a bunch of comics in the middle.
Yeah. Well,
I regret saying anything.
Yeah. He was, I don't know. Like I was thinking, maybe if you got me if that shit was around when I was like 14, maybe like, when you're just out of control, horny and can't make anything happen.
I can't imagine that I would do that I wouldn't do that at any age. I don't think.
They need to make disposable fuck dolls. Where it's like you don't have evidence after
probably
the fact.
Not cost effective, really.
True.
I don't think that.
Well, but yeah, I just don't understand. I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's these high dollar sex dolls, and it's like, I guess they kind of, but it's like they still kind of look like a core. Like it's like it's still just kind of like a weird dead body, or I don't know. It's still a rubber thing, and
it's scary to have in your house. Dahmer-ish, like Jeffrey Dahmer.
I mean, the dolls, man, that's just a whole different. That's a whole other level, and that's like kind of what like my whole, the whole section of my act that was like about that stuff is like. I'm not judgmental of like, fuck all the motorized vaginas or whatever. Right. I'm just like I feel like that's a threshold. Once you cross it, you can't take it back. And then like, what if, and you know what? That's just my own hangups, like from being brought up Catholic or whatever, maybe, but I just don't want to have a bunch of, because like women have drawerfuls of fucking machines that they have sex with or that they masturbate with. Yeah. And it's no big deal, but there's just some, like for me, I'm like, I don't know. It's different if there's a closet full of.
For whatever reason, it's less weird. And also, I mean, their shit is like dildos or whatever and those kind of things. They're all kind of like a dildo thing. But like, there's something weirder about, I mean, if a woman had like an actual man that was a doll, that would be kind of just as weird, right?
I mean, it's definitely next level, like she's definitely taking it up a notch.
I think the idea would be funny. Like for us specifically, we do a show somewhere in like fucking Ontario. Yeah. And then we come home, we're like, oh man, that show kind of sucked. And then you fuck a doll.
Yeah. And then you like open up your closet, take the body off the hook, lay it down, pick which head you're going to put on.
You're like, you're not
Susan.
married, no kids.
Tonight's your lucky night.
You're fucking some like, or even we're an open mic.
Or even like, why do you not have a wife and kids in that scenario? You could, everyone's asleep. You sneak into the garage, open up a secret, undo the combination lock on your weird metal
gun safe
case. Yeah. Gun closet.
I like the idea of them knowing about it actually more. Like you tell your wife, like I'm going to go do my thing.
I envy guys. Like, that would just be, I feel like that's like the freest person in the world who's just like, I'm going to go have sex with my $6,000 sex doll. Like just no shame, completely owning it, comfortable with who you are.
How much it costs is funny too. It's like, listen, it's $6,000. We talked about this. I spent all this money. You want me to not fuck it? What lesson does that teach our daughters? Our sons? Wasting money. What do you want
I don't know about this guy, but yeah, the guy with the van is wild, man. That's like
great guest idea.
Yeah, great get.
He wasn't down with it. Yeah. He's like, I'm just getting started. I don't know if there's much to talk about. Yeah, I'm just getting started with this business, and I don't know if there's much to talk about it. And I replied, which in hindsight, I'm like, maybe I sound like a cop, but because like I replied like. From my perspective, there's a lot to talk about. Like just the fact that I don't care how many customers you have, like just the fact you're doing this fucking shit is interesting. And he didn't reply to that.
Like, do you know who Brendon Shaw is? How about Melissa Villasenor?
Yeah.
Did you offer him like the blurry face and the like, what's it called? Distorted voice? So he guys like on anonymity in doing it?
I told him, I was like, look, we can do it on the phone or whatever. And then actually the last email I did send him, I said, what if I like just hire you? Like I'll pay your $60 and come drive the van to do the podcast. Like you're going, like, what's the difference?
You drive the van. You're like, how about I do your job for a day?
Yeah.
But then you just fuck the dog.
But it's so, I just don't see, I feel like it's gotta be, I don't know. I just don't know how people like, I don't know. I put myself in some risky situations in my life. But to lack that self-preservation, I don't know, like to be like, I'm so horny. I'm going to spend $50.
No, and
right, also maybe right. I'm like, I don't know, like I'm not a prostitute guy. But I'm like, $50, couldn't you get like a handy from like a fucking crack lady or something? Which is like, I know not the most attractive, but I would take like going to have sex with a rubber doll.
It doesn't make any sense. You're right. The more you say it, the more you say it, it doesn't make any sense at all. Nobody's doing this.
It doesn't make sense.
It still makes me laugh, the idea of like this guy doing it. And like, I think it's funny. Like, what if he doesn't want to do it just because he's like, I've been scammed before, you know, they want me on the show.
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
they just want to fuck the dog.
Yeah, there you go. Next, you're going to ask for a free sample.
We get to test it out, right?
I don't know. It's
So
that doesn't make any sense at all. How do we know it's real?
I mean, he had pictures of the doll and he had pictures of the van. I mean, I could show
It's
you
a
the
bang bus. It's like the bang bus.
It kind of is like a bang bus.
So
You
you
get in and there's the woman's already in the car.
You spoke to him on the phone?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was emailing him
I feel like
through
this definitely
Craigslist.
has like some drugs mixed in the mix. Like,
How funny would it be if the guy actually turns out to be Sean O'Connor? It's just a side business. He fucks with you. That's what he does. Or fucking Duncan Trussell.
I mean, I could
Brendon.
find the
It's so obviously him.
the AI.
Yeah, come. I'm not Duncan.
Well, I was saying it could be like a good. That's like kind of a good basis for like a horror movie.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's just such an unbelievable situation. Like I don't know. I feel like most people would just be like, who the fuck would go do that? Like, who's going to go answer a Craigslist ad to go have sex with a sex doll?
Unless you're like, I could see like if you're specifically into dolls, maybe. Like maybe it's guys that are.
Maybe it's fun.
Super
I've never had
incel.
sex with a high dollar. I've never had sex with any thing.
Yeah, your stance against sex stuff is well documented, as we've discussed from the Laugh Factory clips. You're kind of like the Adam.
Yeah, that's
Payne
what launched
of,
us into this whole thing.
and,
Where's I gotta find this Craigslist guy. I'll show you the photos.
Yeah, I want to see it. Fucking yeah, no, it doesn't make
Oh,
sense
here it
because
is.
if you were into that kind of thing, let's say you're into escorts, you would just go fucking escort. You'd watch porn. There's probably porn that costs $50. I know there's porn that costs.
I'm like, I mean, I don't know. Or go buy. How
Or
much
sex.
does a fleshlight cost?
Fleshlight or sex calls.
Yeah.
You know, all those things probably cost around that, if not more. You know.
Oh, here we go. I saw your Craigslist ad.
How did you find out about him again?
I was on Craigslist, like looking at couches, and then just like started looking for like looking at weird shit.
Yeah.
Or there's a picture of the goods
Wow.
right there.
That's crazy.
oh, wow.
That's the van, which I was not expecting.
It's a nice van, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a definite.
Wouldn't you think the guy
Movie
was going to
lighting.
film you, though?
Yeah.
If you saw something
That's
like that?
again. I'm like everything. It runs the gamut from. Oh, those aren't the original. The pictures that he has on the ad, she's got clothes on.
Or blackmail you.
Well, that's what I'm. Yeah, I'm like, if you're not getting robbed or murdered, there's a hidden camera. There, you know, it's going to be. Yeah. There's just so many risks.
That's not something I have to worry about because my dad's so rich. He would just, come like have him killed or something.
Yeah. Available every day in the morning except Sunday. Just give me a heads up a day before you want to try her.
God-fearing man.
Shit, dude.
Yeah, maybe he has to go to church. He takes the doll to church with him.
What if this guy, he's so successful, like he's rich. And he had like
this is his kink.
His daughter is Kath Barbadero, and let's keep going back to the same joke. Everybody's everybody.
Well, I mean, he's capitalizing on a trend in a way where it's like sex dolls are all the rage, and he's like,
I don't know.
They're the biggest they've ever been, probably.
Yeah, and
I mean, I do see because of AI and stuff, right? Because like you can hook it up. I did shows with Rogan for a little while, and there was a guy, I think it was with Rogan. It might have been with Stanhope, but I don't know. Maybe it was a show I did, but I feel like it was like I was opening for a bigger guy. And there was a dude who after a show was like, hey, I have like this sex business thing where like I can send you a kit. And it was like this thing you hooked up to your computer. And then there were like porno movies. And then I think there were like live cam girls involved too, where basically you hook this thing up to your computer, put it on your wang, and then like whatever the girls were doing in the movies, it would do to you.
Whoa.
And it sounds pretty fancy. And the guy sent me the stuff. Like it was like a big bug. I guess I did cross that threshold at one point. I never thought about that, but the thing is, like, I got it and was like, and kind of just put it in my closet. Was like, oh, I'll figure this out, because it was like, it wasn't like just pop it on. It was like, you open the box, you're like, there's a thing, and there's like batteries, drivers. Like I had a PC computer,
like the air fryer, dude.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know, I'll figure this out, and then like. I just never really thought about it. Like, I was like, I don't know if I want to get into all that. And it just was in my closet for a while. And I was like cleaning my place out, and just, that was in my closet. It was like, well, I should let's see what this is all about. Yeah, obviously. Yeah. And was like, downloading shit and trying to get like, I basically like an hour with like no pants on, just like, what the fuck is, hold on, why isn't this working? Like, is this even on? Like, it's not even. And then just like had this like weird moment of like self-awareness of like, what are you fucking, you got like all this shit spread out on your bed, like CD-ROMs and fucking floppy disks. Yeah, like wires, and you're like trying to looking at this like plastic thing with like a dick sucker unit in it. Like, why is this working? And like, it's like you're clean, and like you're not even doing. It's like an hour's gone by. You could have fucking cleaned out your apartment, but you're like trying to get. So I never did get it to work, and I just kind of gave. I was like, you know what am I fucking doing? Fuck this thing.
That's actually really like mature of you to like give up and like not use it. Like, I think my frustration with stuff like that outweigh, like that'll kill.
You're
just too stupid. You're just shy. That's some shit you can't figure out. I mean, no, I'm way dumber than that.
I mean, it also was like, I was like coasting with this like Acer laptop for like, it was like, I think, like my computer, like there were just a lot of things working against me. Like I had this like cheap laptop that I was like, I mean, I was like pretty broke when I moved out here. So, I couldn't just go and buy a fucking MacBook Pro. So I think it was like, my computer's a piece of shit. This stuff's not really work, like whatever software. And also like, I think I probably had it for a year before I'm like, this guy's out of business. Like this thing doesn't even work anymore.
That too is mature, to have it for a year and not try it for that long. You're on the phone with Duncan, like, I can't get it to work. But I mean,
he's like, did you install driver 2? Check your download
I think you're
file.
selling yourself short. I don't think it was because you couldn't figure it out. I think it's very mature.
Because
I'm not.
I
like,
would have listened if you can have.
I really think that waiting a year is insane self-control. Because look,
it's not though, because it's a box of wires and CD-ROMs and like, what I mean? It's like, it's not like a come home drunk and be like, oh, right, I got that robot pussy. Let's try that. It's like, oh, right, I got that robot pussy and I got to read a fucking manual. And, like it wasn't, there was no like impulsive use of it. Like the time that you had the, or at least I had
you couldn't impulsively use it because it took too much to do.
You had to figure out, like there was a lot of shit you had to figure out and like cook up. Like you couldn't just plug it in.
Great.
Or maybe you could have, and I'm stupid and I fucked up. But
let me tell you what I did. So I broke up with my ex. She dumped me.
She's a robot.
Years ago. Yeah, she's a robot. We had a lot of sex.
She's a cantaloupe with a hole cut out in it.
I couldn't find her head again.
She's in a van.
So my friend was working with Sony and he had all these deals. And he was like, do you want, like, I don't play much video games. But he was like, I got all these deals. You want a PS4? I can get you half off. And I was like, okay, yeah. I had nothing to do. I was kind of depressed. I got the PS4 and he was like, do you want, like, you probably don't want this. You're not even a gamer guy, but do you want like virtual reality headset?
Oh, yeah.
So I used to do this terrible bit about how like, I was like, yeah, I got the virtual reality headset. I told him I'm not going to watch like virtual reality porn on it, but the first day I got it, I did.
Of course.
Yeah, but the first day I got it, I literally did. And not only did I watch virtual reality porn, but I like went out and bought a fucking one of those flash drive things so I could put porn on the flash drive from the internet for free.
Oh, okay.
And then plugged it into the PlayStation and watched it. So you're at least much smarter than I. Like you had much more self-control. Me, I literally thought, I'll never watch it.
Yeah.
But I didn't like it. It sucked. But
It's weird. I've seen that actually through Duncan. Duncan had one of the first like VR
he seems like the guy.
kit. Well, he's got a pretty popular podcast, and somebody sent him a developer's kit. I saw a really early version of VR that you couldn't be in there for too long because you'd get a headache and you'd get sick because they didn't have the frame rate figured out yet or something. So it's like
Maybe it was like Oculus or one of those things.
Yeah, it was one of those early versions of that. But then like later on, he had a pretty fancy setup at his place, and and he had the porn thing, which was like kind of. I mean, I didn't like, I just checked it out because there were people in the room. I couldn't really get into it.
I'm getting sucked off by a robot.
I mean, it is weird and interesting, and I know like I'm kind of surprised that it's taken. Like I thought, because I feel like it was like 2014 maybe when Duncan had that first kit, and then I was like, in 5 years, there's just going to be guys hooked up to like feeding tubes and dick sucking machines, living in this world forever.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's still kind of slow going. Maybe they need a couple more COVIDs or something to really just like get that going. And also too, like in my non-defense, I guess, this was probably 2010 when this guy gave me all this stuff. So it's like, this was this was all pretty glitchy stuff. And it was like, it was also just some guy, like a company. I mean, like the box was professionally made. Like it wasn't just like a box that he drew like, with like a marker. But it wasn't like, like Vivid Video or like one of these big porn cut. Like it wasn't like a big, like, Sony,
That could be like a fucking America's Got Talent act now. Like you go on stage and you're like, all right, I'm going to fucking get sucked off by a robot. And you put it all together and you're like,
Hey, I'm not, I mean, I guess that's like, I mean, just like the cam girl stuff is crazy to me. Like the fact that like that exists, like that was like just, 20 years ago, that was like Star Trek level, like where it's like, oh, so you're going to have like video phones and girls are going to jack off and then you're like, it's just going to be like,
it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. All of it is, like the whole, I've been talking about this a lot on my podcast, but like it just dawned on me not that long ago that like the internet comes out. And like kind of the first thing everybody's doing is looking at porn. Like that was like free, unlimited pornography.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like the government kind of steps in and like fucking tries to regulate anything. Like, I mean, you still can't say like fuck on CBS.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're like, okay, no, you can't swear here. But look, there's the little thing, the box next to it is a free, unlimited, bottomless pit of pornography. And the fact that like, that was never even like, I mean, I'm sure it was probably mentioned. There were probably news stories about like, what do we do about it? And they're like, we can't do anything. But like right off the bat, it's like, just charge a fucking like card people. That's the only way to do it is make sure it's not 8-year-olds watching like new shit being invented because like, meat and potatoes porn went out the window the first couple of years where everyone's like, blowjobs, anal, vaginal. What else you got? Cock gagging? Never heard of that before. Yeah, because it didn't exist before. It's because everybody's a fucking animal now and has been like desensitized. And so I feel like it's almost like that's a conspiracy where it's like the government
did it on purpose.
Like initially it was like, just fucking let everybody like feed them processed food and have them jacking off all day. Who's easier to control than a bunch of fat, like malnutrition
incels.
Yeah. People jacking it. Right? I mean, it's not healthy. It's not good that like, I mean, I'm older than you guys. And I remember like, I mean, it was like, it wasn't as like everybody had like a couple porns somewhere. But like, it's just so like, there's a whole generation of kids now. It's been around for 20 years, more or less, or more, that you can just pop on. Yeah. Just like pop right in and see whatever your wildest, most depraved
impulse.
Well, it's
Yeah.
like, it's the same thing. It's like nobody did anything to stop flappers in 2010.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I might had a friend who was addicted to the, he's addicted to everything, like the sex stuff.
Yeah.
And he got addicted to webcams
Uh-huh.
with chicks.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
He told me this.
That gets
story.
expensive, right?
Yeah, he was using his dad's credit card. To go back to the
man.
rich dad.
Yeah.
Hey,
He had-
papi.
He had a bit about it, but one of the things that really made me laugh, it's not even a bit really, it's just like he went on a date with one of the webcam girls.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've met a few of them.
He you from the show?
I have a friend who dated
A webcam.
one of them, yeah.
Well, he was on a date with her, and he was like, I really like you. I want to go out with you. And she's like, we can't do that. And he was like, why not? And she's like, because I'm a prostitute.
Oh.
It just made me laugh, just like the the directness of that. But yeah, he was super into that shit. I never did webcam because it was something.
I discovered it with like, back when we first started doing the Bone Zone and we were like doing it at the Ice House and like Red Band was like, it was all that like Death Squad studio thing that he had at the Ice House. And like, there were like porn girls around who were like friends with Brian. And, I don't know how. I know we talked to a webcam girl on the podcast early on. That's when I like found out about it. Like where I was like, oh, there's this, service that you can do this. And, it's pricey. That was like, I was like, oh, that seems fun. But I'm like, it seems expensive too.
Yeah.
And also it's like, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's unhealthy to get too wrapped up in anything like that, but that in itself, because you are interacting with people. So
Did they see you?
I think, yeah, you can.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think you don't have to.
Yeah, I think I know the answer to that because I know my friend was doing it.
Yeah.
It's like he was having them insult him, like
Oh,
say
yeah.
crazy shit to him.
Jesus Christ.
There's other shit. There's financial domination too, which is a thing.
Yeah,
where you
I
like-
saw that in Euphoria.
You
That's
tip
all
them and
were.
they cruise you out. They're like, you
Pay
fucking-
pig.
No, I think they just, take like, I don't know how it works, but I think it's like they, or like, give me $1,000.
Yeah.
I don't know. And
Yeah,
some
yeah.
guys get
That's
off
what
on
is,
it.
yeah. Exactly. No, that's
Yeah.
what it is. That's like in that Euphoria show.
And is that
You watched
it?
that, right?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah.
Is that it though? They're just like, give me $1,000, stupid, or
Yeah, stuff
whatever.
like that, and they
and-
like pay, and I guess.
but they don't
must
get any
jack off to it.
sexual.
I think the person jacks off to it. Maybe, like it's like Dom. Whatchamacallit. Yeah, Caitlin was telling me about it. Caitlin Jeffers, a freak.
She would know about that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's like a whole Dom sub thing. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe I get a little bit of that when I do Fourth Wall. I don't get turned on, but I pay them $5 and feel like a moron. And I come home and I fuck my sex doll and drink
Go
out of a
VR.
shoe.
You go to that place and pay $5?
I do. Yeah. Can't lie.
Damn.
When's the last time you performed at Flappers?
Oh, it's been a long time because Flappers, I assume I'm banned.
But there's
Okay.
been some change in the tide. They liked a post.
They
on
did like a
Twitter.
post.
Hmm.
But
It was very unexpected.
I assume they don't want me there because I've done so many tweets about them and made fun of them. Do you know one of the most ridiculous things I did was during the COVID, I created a fake event. That said rally to reopen, and I said it was happening at Flappers, and I was like, "Flappers is with me. We're like doing all this shit."
I would
People
see them
thought that was
getting,
real.
yeah. I could see him getting mad at that, but I don't know. I think that you're probably fine. We should start stuffing the suggestions box to get Schaub over there, because then we
Sean's
could go
been
see.
over there, I think.
Really?
think
I
so.
want to see him do a whole hour over there.
I would love to, but one time Oathman tweeted a picture of Schaub at the Flappers, and he said "best of both worlds." So I know he's performed there.
Yeah.
We should get our idea of Brendon.
Yeah.
We should kick off at Flappers maybe.
That would be
get back into
great. I mean,
stand-up.
at this point, I've broken the seal of, publicly making fun of the guy. So
If he promised not to beat either of us up, I don't know. I don't know if I want to guarantee that.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Does he? Yeah, he might beat us up. I don't know.
That is my fear of Shab. It's not so much. Like, I think some people are worried. I don't know. Maybe as like Hollywood Power or Rogan or something like that. I'm more worried he would beat me up. Well, I mean, I assume he's not crazy enough to do that, but
yeah, I feel like that would be a whole can of worms. Like, I mean, litigiously, you could really, sue the shit out of him because he's also a professional.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that like a thing? If you know karate, you have to be like, you're a lethal weapon or something.
No, I think that's fake.
Did I show you? I don't want to say who this.
But I think it would stand up in court if you're like, yes, I'm a comedian. And yes, I said these, I called this guy dumb and then he beat me up and he used to be a professional fighter. And now, I had to go to the hospital. I want to sue. And he apparently has a Ferrari. I want to have his Ferrari and his fucking shit.
His Mexican wife.
You probably maybe do okay in court. I don't know.
On the same note, don't say who this is. This is some idiot. But did you see this? Did anyone show you this to you? Did I show this to you? And don't read it out.
Oh, yeah, but I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah, I don't want to get too into details, but that's so crazy. That's such a lie, right?
Is that guy a professional fighter?
No.
Oh.
That's what makes it even more ridiculous.
Is he big? Can he fight?
I don't know. A lot of his act is about him being able to fight. I don't really know him. I don't want to shit on him too much, but it's like it can't possibly be true. Who would do that?
I don't know.
Wild.
I don't know what
I didn't show you this
Yeah.
already. I'll show you after the pod. But yeah, maybe we should be more like that. Maybe we should try and fight Shab. Tell him to fuck off. If Shab next comedy store show, you should be like, "What did you say, bitch?"
I mean, I would have to maybe. I don't think I would want to be on a show with him because he probably would at least have caught wind of me saying things.
Yeah, I assume he.
And I'm just for my own comfort. I'm like, I don't want to have to be around a guy and go, "Hey, I made no hard feelings."
No,
because like I honestly, and I've said it too, and I'm not just being a bitch. It's like I don't have anything against. I'm not like fuck that fucking guy. I fucking hate him.
Yeah, same.
I don't. I'm just like amazed that he exists and still does, like in the comedy world, and these clips that we're watching where it's like it just never ends. You're like, what the fuck did he say now? And
yeah.
So it's just like, it's just fascinating to me. And I don't, there is no animosity on my end, but I would see like, if I found out there were like some assholes sitting around fucking making fun, like watching my Laugh Factory clips and like fucking going, look at this fucking idiot.
Yeah, it would piss you off, or it would piss me off too.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. It'd be interesting.
And Shab, to his credit, he's brought up some pretty important points. Like, if you are in a room with Magic Johnson, you might get AIDS from a mosquito bite.
Yeah, there are some pretty telltale signs that he might be like a dildo. I mean, AIDS, like that, just the whole.
It's so ridiculous.
He does need a handler.
He really does. Somebody should have told him not to do that. Is this the first time he's ever said it? Had he practiced it before? Because that shit is like, when you're a kid and you say like just like the dumbest thing you can think of. It's like offensive, kind of like you might make a joke about AIDS. But Shab still thinks like that. He's like, you remember Brian White, the AIDS kid?
Yeah.
Shab is like the kid, some kids wouldn't play with him because they're worried they get AIDS. Shab still thinks like that. He's that.
Well,
stupid.
it's just, there's so many things to unpack with that Magic Johnson bit. But you also could tell because like there's two clips of it now. So he's like, calling up Brian Callen, like, working on this bit. It's like, I think it's coming together. And like, no one's like, dude, you're like, what is the bit? Like, what, like, so wait, you're shitting on Garcetti. Like all this shit was like, what, 2 years ago or a year ago, at least.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl, I guess the Super Bowl last year. So maybe, but it's like so local, like, nobody gives a shit about the mayor of LA outside of LA.
Yeah. And
also like the Magic Johnson has AIDS thing. Like, well, I mean, number one, the guy has had AIDS for 30 years. He's strong as a horse. Like,
HIV, and then it's not even AIDS.
Or
it's
whatever.
HIV.
He's fine, obviously. And you're like, yeah, like I would be wearing a fucking space helmet. But then he's like, he's like, no, this is the bit I'm going to work on. This is the first time. It's time to get my shit together and start.
I wonder if Magic is homeless. Like, is there going to be a thing where Magic is homeless as fuck?
Dude, if Magic Johnson did an AMA.
That'd be so great.
I bet you Magic would be homeless on site, dude. Just like the first time he sees him, he's like, I don't like this guy.
Yeah, he's above all that.
He's too big, hopefully. But Shab, well, actually, not hopefully. I would love it if he got involved. But Shab is like, he it's not his real views, you know? Like, he's just parroting, like, what his friend, like, not liking Garcetti, not liking Gascon. Being kind of like conservative, but not, there's never any like point to it. He's just like, oh, you're kind of like Kamala. He said that to somebody.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't even know who that is, probably, really.
No, he's definitely like taking, that's what I'm saying. He's watching like fight tapes. He's watching clips of like, you know, probably just Joe Rogan and Joey Diaz and like just the guys in that universe, I would imagine. Like, I don't know, you know, he's probably not watching any like, he couldn't sit through a Richard Pryor special. I don't think. I think it's all just too...
Yeah, it's too smart.
It's too dated, too. I mean, frankly, I was introduced to Eddie Murphy before Richard Pryor, and I feel like that kind of ruined Richard Pryor for me a little bit because I saw like Eddie Murphy's Delirious. Yeah. Also, when I was like fucking 12 at the, you know, where you're just like, this is crazy. Yeah, you know, it was also like the dirtiest thing I'd ever seen. But like to see, you know, Eddie Murphy's Delirious and Raw when you're like a kid and then be like, oh, this is the guy who paved the way for him. Well, okay, I get it. But like, I've just seen like the, you know, the new version. Thing.
Yeah, I think,
it's like getting an iPhone like 6, you know, getting the iPhone 14 and then someone going, but here's the first one that made it possible. And you're like, yeah, I get it.
I agree. I think like when I was a kid, I also watched Eddie Murphy and I was thinking like, this guy's the best ever.
Yeah.
Like he's like, nobody's going to ever be better than that.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff obviously has not lasted, but I still kind of think he's one of the best, if not the best.
I mean, he was really, just really, really funny. And
Sean was watching George Carlton.
Oh, George Carlton. He's Carlton. Never met him. Great guy. Never met him.
Yeah. Fuck.
Well, I gotta go.
Yeah. Let's get out of here.
I feel like I derailed your whole. Is this how it usually goes with the whole?
This was chill. We talked about sex toys.
I know. That's what I'm like. Oh, you brought up an old clip of mine, and then I talked about it for an hour.
The only thing we have to do is the checking in with Scott. So checking in with, we read this guy's tweet.
Okay,
it makes no sense.
Checking in with Scott.
Checking in with Scott. Do you have anything you want to plug before we do it?
Just the World Record Podcast. If you want to come to the Formosa Cafe, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a good set. So.
It's on the corner of Formosa and Santa Monica.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. The people that watch this show know Formosa Cafe. There's a bunch of comedy shows there.
Okay.
Just went in to close out checking account with a bank where I've been a customer for 15 years and they didn't even ask me why. LOL. It's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
Good one, Scott. Do you know Scott Lurs?
What's his last name?
Lurs?
No. I don't think so.
He doesn't know you piece of shit. All right. Tune in next week.
Do you know this guy?
Yeah,
he's
we know.
a great guy.
Yeah. Okay.
We had a great time. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hell yeah.
Check out World Record Pot. And if you have time, go to Formosa Cafe. Bye.